Hey, what's up, guys? The Dell and Pete Show, podcast number 4. And today we're talking about, maybe you heard of it, maybe you haven't. I'm guessing most of you haven't, but it's called flow state.
Yeah, so pretty much it's a topic that Jamie Wheel actually brought up in a TED Talk, and he just went on to describe it as like being in the zone, like how basketball players get when you just can't seem to miss any shots and you just don't have to think about anything. And what's happening is he kind of breaks it down so people understand it better, and it's kind of broken down into 3 steps. And it starts off with, the flow silence or inner critic, which kind of has that like selfless. The cortisol dissolves in your brain, and you start working effortlessly. And then the theta and gamma waves start to activate, and your brain, your brain speed slows down, and all the functions slow down to the point where, whenever you're doing any task, and you can get flow in anything. There's no specific
Rapping.
Yeah, like whatever. Most of the time, you have to have obviously some history or experience with it.
Yeah.
Like it's hard for someone who's just starting in basketball to get in the flow state in basketball.
Okay.
But you see a guy that scores 60 points in a game, he's not thinking about anything, he's not, and then at the end of the game, they'll ask him, be like, do you know you just broke your season high? And they're like, no, actually I didn't. And the funny part is like that they really didn't know that, and they just get in such emotion and such a flow that it becomes easy.
So can you say it's like kind of peaceful state of mind, or is that not
absolutely
right?
No, it's exactly that. It's pretty much the utmost peaceful you can get, like to a point where you're not thinking, like there's no thought. See, most of the time what stops people or hurts people in any sport or anything really that you do, especially something that takes a lot of brain activity, is whenever you think too much, it really throws you off and takes you off your pattern, because your brain's meant to protect you. It's meant to get in your way in a sort of fashion. So to understand how to turn off your brain, turn off the inner dialogue, and get into that flow state, and then that's when those dopamines and endorphins start kicking in, and you feel like Superman, as Jamie Wheel described it as feeling like Superman at that point. When I edit a video sometimes, right? When I just start editing, it gets annoying. I'm like frustrated, whatever. Then sometimes you get to a point where, not that my editing's really good or anything like that, but it gets so easy where it's like you stop thinking, and all of a sudden people get it when they study, people get it when they read, when they teach, when they speak, when it doesn't really matter what it is. I'm sure people who fix cars get it when they're fixing cars. So it's hard, everyone can have their own way of engaging and getting in that state. The biggest thing you want to do is recognize what that state is, because a lot of people have experienced, actually I'm assuming everyone has experienced that. If you're above the age of 10 years old, you've probably experienced some level of flow. But it's so natural, and it happens to us where we don't even understand it. So understanding it's the biggest, and I think the best way to get us closer to learning how to actually get us in that state. Yeah. And the goal is to be in that state as much as possible.
I mean, the reason why he's rambling on is because I'm just learning for this the first time as well, just in case you guys have never really heard of this. This is my first time. He's teaching me right now too. He's bringing value to my life.
It's not me, it's Jamie Wheel, but he actually broke down the system, and I guess he reverse engineered it, and he says that first your brain waves are very active, and it's kind of like being in a struggle, and that's when the cortisol and the stress levels are really high in your brain, and the inner dialogue is incredibly loud. And then you have to try to relax, and I think one key way of getting to the relaxation point, the release, is meditation, and that's normally the best way that people can clear their head. And they say, are you is your mind full, or are you mindful? So do you understand what mindfulness is?
I mean, you can explain it if you want. Not
so
really.
Is your mind full, or are you mindful? It's just it's a fun term, meditation. We use
is my mind full of like thoughts or
junk,
stuff,
like just
or is it
useless things going on, or are you mindful of what's going on around you, and are you aware?
You taking in stuff?
Yeah, exactly. So he's pretty much saying that when you get to the second part, your brain slows down, it flushes out the stress hormones,
right,
and nitric oxide is released, I guess, inside your brain. You reach alpha brainwave.
Well, now, is there like a way to do this besides meditation? Because not everyone likes to sit there in complete silence and.
Well, you know what, meditation is really. People think that's normally what people think of when they think of meditation. They think, sitting there in a kumbaya state.
Kumbaya,
like,
okay.
I don't know, but listen,
right.
It's not actually like that. See, meditation is really, you don't even have to call it meditation. Just call it mindfulness. And that literally, I mean, you could be sitting on the toilet, you could be on the bus or on your car ride. Just try to kill out all noise and just relax to the point where you're not thinking about anything.
Don't do it while you're driving, please.
A lot of people do it while they're driving.
Please
Just don't
do it while
wreck.
you're
Yeah.
driving.
But no, honestly, like, you could be on the bus, you could be at work, anywhere. It doesn't matter. So don't think of meditation as this really esoteric and hard to do thing where you have to be in a super, I don't even know, quiet and environment like that.
Room.
Yeah, it's not necessary. I'm able to meditate just about anywhere to the point where it relaxes me enough. And I think that's one great thing that a lot of people use for anger and frustration, anxiety, all that stuff that people get on a daily basis. Meditation is the key to all of it. I mean, we could get in that in a different video.
Like listening to music can help you meditate?
Yeah, I think listening to music's a good thing. I don't anytime I'm studying or doing anything to where my brain has to be super active, I try to do like wordless songs, things like that. That's a great way to do it.
Just like a beat.
Yeah, exactly. A beat or piano or something like that.
One day when I came in and there were monks like singing, going, "Mwah."
No, that's just awesome. It is. Hey, and by the way, I just want to end this with the third state that he was saying is what's considered to be the flow state. That's, some people call it being in the zone or whatever you end up calling it. It's when you reach the theta gamma brainwave state, and that's when dopamine and endorphins are released. They kick in, and then you get to the last part, which is the delta brainwave state, recovery mode. So when serotonin, oxytocin, I think is how it's pronounced, is released in your brain.
Right.
And obviously you get serotonin. It's a pleasure hormone. That's when that's when you're satisfied. I just did a great day's work, or I just made 40 points in a game, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
You get to that point where it's, you get to that point whenever you do that thing too. But but that's when you are able to access that. So, and Jamie Wheel actually said, just one key factor is the goal is to turn off your neocortex, which is the front part of the brain. That is what holds and stresses and causes anxiety to most people. So if we're able to figure out a way to start doing a task or do any sport or anything in our lives effortlessly, that is how we are able to do it with that process. And meditation is kind of the key. Mindfulness is also the key. Yep.
I mean, that's something new I learned today, honestly. I hope you guys learned something from it, because that's actually a cool thing to do. Mm-hmm. Maybe you get relaxed from doing that, and right before you go to work or something, you get in the zone work and just get a bunch of paperwork done and at once. Yeah. So
it's also worth mentioning that it's probably smart to, let me say it like this. It's very difficult for people to kind of get in the flow state doing something you do not like. So if I don't like to listen to a lecture from a teacher, it's going to be very hard for me to take notes in a flow state if I'm having that combating issue within my head. So that's something you have to figure out for yourself. But just a little point that I would like to make before we sign off. But.
Well, hey, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I did. I learned something new. Hope you guys did as well. But like and subscribe to us. Get our content out there, share it. And see you later.
See you guys.